just quickly, you know, this really fits in kind of three categories for me. Number one, prevention of derailments. Second category is mitigating the consequences of derailments, and then making sure that in the third category that we have, in fact, trained professionals who respond to these crises. And I want to just briefly hit each one. I was surprised, Mr. Sabo, that you didn't talk about technology very much when you were asked, because I think technology is such that you could, in fact, inspect that track every time a train went over the track. And so, you know, I just want to lay that, I don't have a lot of time, so I just want to lay that marker down that we're interested in the relationship that you have with the American Railroad Association, so we make sure we get that technology deployed. In the category of mitigation, I think, you know, with all due respect, PHMSA doesn't have a very good record on this, and I know you said you're moving with all due diligence, but that's not the past history on this. I think there was a lack of engagement. In fact, Senator Hoeven, along with Senator Landrieu, sent a letter in December of 2012 asking where that collaboration was, where that discussion was. Now we're here in crisis almost, trying to resolve this issue, and I think it's a lesson for all of us to respond and react. Finally, I want to talk about classification. There hasn't been a lot of talk about how this product gets classified, except the chairman raised this. I want to ask Ms. Korteman, taking a look at the range of violations, would it have changed how any of that product was actually shipped? It may have changed how people respond to it if there's crisis, and I recognize the need to know exactly what that is for the first responders, but would it have changed how they ship that product?
I don't have a list of each of the violations that are listed there, but we're talking here about cargo tanks, which are trucks on the highway, and there are differences between the tanks that are used for packing group 1 packages and packing group 2 packages.
I just want to focus
yes.
on the railroad. I want to focus on the rails.
Once it went to a rail, whether it would have made a difference if the packing group were wrong, I don't know what the number was at that time. Packing group 1 and packing group 2 are very similar.
In terms of the requirement on how they ship. So we just want to make sure that we're laying down the understanding that these classifications are relevant and important and must be met, but they may not change, in fact, how that product moves under current regulation. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about classification, because in my discussions with API and with PHMSA, you know, this is facts. I mean, what actually is in the tank or what gets produced, it's chemically provable. But yet we have all of this disagreement about what is this product? And I know that API has come up with a pretty extensive outline on process in terms of studying this and getting to the point. And I know you're currently moving. Are you guys communicating? Are you giving us what we need in terms of a process so the public can be guaranteed it's moving forward appropriately? API.
Yes, thank you. We indeed are moving forward with development of a standard that looks at classification of crude oil, and what it does is look at all of the aspects that need to be resolved. There have been several questions that have come from PHMSA, and we're addressing those and any other questions that come up during those meetings. So that is a group of scientists and engineers and railroads, and PHMSA will be participating in those meetings. In fact, they had somebody at the last meeting.
So we're building consensus on how we're going to test this or what the standards are going to be, Ms. Korteman?
API has stepped forward to put together a standards creation body. We are participating on that body. We have, since we last met with Secretary Fox, we have had a series of meetings with crude oil representatives, including API, but also individual shippers to ask them what are the characteristics of the crude. And I've had a series of conversations over the past month with individual companies. Some are providing information on that, and we have told them what we know about the crude so far. And, you know, we did probably as many tests last week as we had in the period before. So we will have a lot more information after we get the results from that.
I think this is headed in the right direction.